It's 9 o'clock. Fantastic. 10 more seconds, making sure our early risers from different parts of the world or late bloomers are able to get in. And here we go. Let's get started. Welcome to World Futures Day Young Voices 2025. This session is brought to you by Teach the Future, a global nonprofit dedicated to embedding futures literacy in education worldwide, in partnership with the Millennium Project and the Young Voices Network. Right now, we are a part of a 24-hour global conversation about futures, creating a space where all generations, especially young voices, can share their visions, concerns, and action-driven projects towards a better world tomorrow. Share your thoughts and join the global discussion using pound WFD 2025. We are not in a double room, but I do want to make sure that all of you know that this is recorded, and to make sure that if we do have a breakout room later, that the controls are at the bottom. And if you do not see a breakout room control, please use your more or the 3-dot circle, and you should be able to find your breakout room there. And I will be back at 5 minutes to the hour to close our session. And at this point, facilitators, please take it away.
Thank you very much. We are, just to make it clear, we are staying in this room at the moment, and we can do our presentation, right, Randy?
Yep, that is correct.
Great. I attended Kazim's session, and I was really very much impressed, and that was a very special moment for me to learn that he has been working with school students for quite a long time. Our experience we would like to share with my younger colleagues is more moderate. But anyway, we would like to present you with our achievements and to tell you about ourselves. I'm together here with two of a very distinguished persons, with very distinguished ladies, with Madina and Aybanum. I would like to tell you a little bit more where we are from, who we are, what we are doing, and that will give a background for you, what you can expect from us. First of all, about me, myself, I've been doing future studies and Foresight since 2019, but till last year, my students were from 25 up to 60 plus. So last year, when I learned more about Teach the Future, about this amazing initiative around the world, I decided to try, and that succeeded. So now I'm not doing only trainings for like civil servants, business people, but also I try to introduce future studies to younger generation. I think it's very important because they are to take our country further and build the best future, the better future we are living at the moment now. What country we are from. I would like to introduce our Stan country. We are from Kazakhstan. Me, Madina, and Aybanu, they will do introduction later. Kazakhstan is a part of Central Asia. Here on the map, you can see where we are, with whom we are bordering, and Kazakhstan is the biggest country of 5 Stan countries. Here in red, you see our capital, Astana. We are in the right bottom in Almaty, and it's really very beautiful city. You can see here our mountains, and at the moment they are covered with snow. even though it's the first day of spring, we still have some of it because mountains are very high. We have skiing resorts and the famous Medeo skating ring. We have lots of lakes and actually scenery is very beautiful and vary from steppe to mountains to lakes, rivers. And of course, we have our mega city, Almaty. It's very modern, it's developing, and we have lots of opportunities in this city and in our country. And who we are. We are three of us today would like to introduce our first testing field for Teach the Future and for future studies. Actually, I should mention that future studies as a discipline and foresight as a practical field is quite new for Central Asia. I've mentioned that I started doing it in 2019, and that was the first year when we actually brought these ideas about future studies, about constructing future, about building future, about different perspective and different futures into this region. My experience is a little bit controversial, I would say, because I've been working mainly with governmental authorities. Since that time, I'm doing trainings for civil servants at the Academy of Public Administration under the president of Kazakhstan and participating in different international projects. And this week, just Wednesday, I came back from Tajikistan, where I'm doing a project with Switch Asia, and that was a very delightful, even quite challenging session, because I saw how people craving for this knowledge. How they're craving for different perspectives, which foresight and future studies can bring to them. So when I suggested last year to the Pedagogical University to conduct a session, actually, I haven't thought that it would turn into a very exciting journey and actually adventure. So we ended up our negotiations, with the administration of this university, not with one session for 45, or I thought maybe it could last for an hour. So we ended up with 5 sessions, and each of them lasted actually for more than 2 hours. What was unique about our experience and my personal experience, that we had not only students, we had a mixed audience. We had the faculty, we had lecturers, we had professors working together side by side with the students of this university. And that was, for me, that was a real implementation of what is called participatory foresight. Because when we are doing foresight, there is always a threat that only one side would promote their vision. But for a complete picture, if we want to have a real, like a 5D perspective, we need as many stakeholders, they're called this way, as many participants and as varied participants as possible. So with that group, we had students of different years of education. We had professors, the faculty, who were sitting side by side with our students and discussing different topics. Of course, we have chosen what was close to the heart of all participants that the field of education and particularly the development of this pedagogical university in the future. That gave them the opportunity to talk with each other, because I did some teaching for a number of years at different educational universities, and I do know from my personal experience that sometimes it's very difficult to find a platform, to find a stage, and to come together and talk with students, not like a lecturer and receiver of the knowledge, but just to be to have a friendly talk, to ask questions. From Kazim's session, I remember that students were full of questions. The same situation we had in our case, and students were brave enough, especially during the first session when we had a dean of the faculty, and they were asking uncomfortable questions. What was also really good, that senior participants, they were ready to answer those questions, and we had a wonderful dialogue. And during those 5 sessions, we went through different experiences because we tried, well, at least I tried to present as many tools, future studies and foresight tools as possible. But my choice of those tools was very specific. I know that young people, they are more visualizers, so they prefer to do things which are very visual. And the first tool which we used was the Futures Triangle. The standard picture of this triangle is like that. Yes, I agree, it's very good instrument because it helps us to not only construct the future and particularly our preferred future, but also to analyze our past and our present. That to realize that not everything was bad in our past and not everything is good in our present. And for that particular instrument, for the triangle, I do remember a presentation of lecturers, of professors, which they prepared with the help of students. And I remember their discussion, how the older generation was sharing the experience of like 20 years ago with younger generation, and how the younger generation was shaking their heads and thinking, yeah, that's what we need now. So they were picking from the past what might be useful in the present. And every time when I work with young people, I do expect something amazing. And I would like to share with you the outcomes of this session with the Futures Triangle. So you see that when young minds and very creative people, they come together and they're given a task, you can get not one triangle, you can get 2 triangles in a very unusual shape, in the shape of a star. And they can adjust this form into the conventional requirements and bring up amazing ideas. We also had this kind of triangle. And you see on the background our Almaty Mountains, that's the sign of our city, with a very royal chair. And don't be surprised with 2 sides of this triangle. On the left, you see like stairs. And if you were in Almaty and if you were at the Medeo skating rink, you would recognize immediately those steps because that's a landmark also and a very recognizable mark of Medeo. And they attributed these steps to the past. But also you see that pluses are more than minuses. And on the right, you see a modern lifter. And you can guess that that side illustrates the present. So these two sides, they bring to our preferred future still in our beautiful landscape, still utilizing the pictures and images from our present, from our culture, from our nature. And by the way, at the bottom, you see our Medeo, the skating ring. So people still there and they still present. Another task we did, that was a task about metaphors. Metaphors about the present and about the future. That's very, I would say, specific task and very useful task for young people. And why I say that? Because they are very much in the internet, in TikTok, in Instagram. We can blame them sometimes, and older people, they blame them for that. But on the other hand, if we think critically, these social media, social platforms, they are very useful because they present lots of images. They present lots of metaphors. And what is metaphor? Metaphor is a picture which comprises lots of meanings, lots of ideas. And you don't need like a 100-page report or a 10-page scientific article to see what is behind that metaphor. Let me share with you what we did. So on the left, that's one of the groups come back, and well, you can see that they also utilize AI and ChatGPT functions. So on the left, you see the visualization of the current system, educational system in Kazakhstan. It's very hierarchical. And I should say that it's not easy within this such hierarchical system to bring in something new. And that's one of the main challenges why maybe Foresight is not that much spread within our educational system, within our schools, universities. It's very difficult to bring in something new. You need to go through all these layers, particularly with the Ministry of Education, to implement something new. And on the right, you see the vision of the future. It's more like an open, bright space which integrates, you see, different generations. It's a workplace where people can do whatever they feel needs to be done. Or this is a very remarkable outcome of another group, and we loved a lot because the right, on the left, you see the picture which you can even imagine what is behind that picture. That was about the university, the overcrowded space of that university, the lack of facilities because the number of students is growing and the demand for space is very high. And on the right, they imagined the future of their campus, that it is like a very big castle with different faculties, but brought together in one space. Also, the other group worked on their images of the past, of the present, and of the future in a very cultural and creative way. So on both pictures, you see yurta, a traditional Kazakh house. But on the left picture, you see that it is in this space very deserted, where not very friendly environment. And by the entrance, there is one single person who is guiding the entrance into that house, and everyone should be submitted to that person. And the vision of the future is on the right. It's still yurta, but in a more friendly environment with beautiful mountains of the background. All the sides of that yurta is open, and the people there inside, they still have books, they're sharing knowledge, they are coming together, and the entrance is open to everyone. It's almost the wall-less space for people who want to come in. And we still keep our cultural aspect there, because on the top of yurta you can see the emblem of Kazakhstan, which you can see on our flag. Well, and of course, we worked with archetypes. 4 different archetypes, 4 different futures, and to present this part of our experience, of our outcome, I would like to give a stage to my young presenters, to Madina and Aybanum. I will stop sharing my screen, and they will share their presentation, because yes, they did fantastic job. Their whole group was fantastic. And participated very actively. Frankly speaking, I didn't expect such a feedback and such a participation, but they caught all the ideas, they caught all the creativity immediately at the spot. And so, girls, floors is yours, and well, that's the turn for younger voices from Kazakhstan. Go ahead.
So, hello everyone again. I'm really glad to see you today. My name is Madina and I'm 20 years old. I'm a student of Kazakh National Pedagogical University, and right now I'm in my 4th years, which is my final year. That is why Foresight workshop is really a relevant topic for me right now.
Well, hello everyone. My name is Aybanu. I'm 20 years old, and I'm also a student in my 4th year in the same university. And as this is my final year, I'm thinking more about my future, and future studying is a very relevant topic for me right now. And that's all.
So let's get started our presentation. Today we're going to talk about a really interesting way of thinking about the future. It's based on the methods from the Hawaii Research Center for Future Studies. The main idea is that there are many possible futures, not just one. By looking at 4 different types of future, we can better understand what may happen and plan for it. These types are called archetypes. The 4 archetypes are continuation, collapse, discipline, and transformation. Let's start with the first one.
Let's start with the first one, continuation. This is when things stay mostly the same as they are like now. Imagine the tech world, like smartphones. They keep getting better, but we still use them in the same basic way. So the future just keeps moving along like today with small improvements. The second is collapse. This is when things go wrong and system breaks down. For example, if there is a big environmental disaster, it could cause cities to fall apart, and people might have to move to smaller, more local communities. It's not the happiest future, but it's one possibility we need to think about.
Now let's look at discipline. This is a future where there is a lot of control, rules, and principles. It could happen if society faces big problems and the government steps in with strict laws to make sure everything stays in order. For example, after a health crisis like a pandemic, there might be a lot of rules on what people can do and cannot do. It will keep things safe, but people might feel like they have less freedom. And it's really bad for our society, I can think. And the last one is transformation. For me, this is the most exciting one. It's a future where big changes happen, like new technology or new ways of thinking, of living, that completely change how society works. For instance, imagine if we are switched to clean energy and stop using fossil fuels. That will completely change how we live and help make our planet more healthier. And in the end of our presentation, we want to show for you the collage which we did on our Foresight workshops. How you can see, here are 4 main pictures. The first picture, it's continuation. You can see theater, city, and this part shows a world that moves forward without big changes. The theater, city, buildings, and people show that life is stable. People follow rules and their traditions. And that is why society grows slowly and doesn't have many changes. Tradition and rules stay the same, we can say. Next picture, in the second one, you can see collapse. Life is like foliage, and foliage like glass. This part is dark and sad. It shows black and white pictures, which depressed, and also you can see pictures which shows suicide. It means that the world is breaking down. There is no stability, only problems, and society falling in apart. The third picture, it's transformation. This is my favorite. I guess it's the best. Here are lighthouse, but also difficulties, which show that through mistakes, through difficulties, we can have some result. It means like people are going through problems, but grown stronger. Society is changing a lot. People learn new things, and that is why they grow. And the last one, picture number 4, it's discipline, control and fun rules. We can divide this picture into 2 main parts. The first part is strict discipline. The government, like a devil, control people. It makes people like feel like prisoners. And the second part is fun discipline. People follow rules, but in a happy way. My colleague will continue.
Well, to sum it up, these 4 futures, continuation, collapse, discipline, and transformation, are different ways the world could turn out. By thinking about them, we can better understand what's coming and make decisions to shape the future we want. We don't want to wait for the future to happen to us. Instead, we can use this process to plan ahead and make sure we are ready for whatever comes next. Thanks for listening.
Great job. Thank you. And a couple follow-up questions from me, and whoever in the audience is ready to ask questions to us, later on we'll do that. But we had really great time together. And for me, that was also a new experience of doing in this audience future studies. And by the way, I see that many people from Teach the Future organization are with us. So I'm very much grateful to you, to Peter, first of all, to Lourdes, our new director, for the materials that you are providing to facilitate this process. Because I already mentioned that during one of our network meetings that I am doing translation of these materials into Russian. Because one of the challenges we have in other regions, in other countries, is that most of the materials, they are in English. And very often we need to translate them into our local languages. So, Ivanu, Madina, question to you. How did you feel when you were working on these pictures, on these cards, and on some other activities? Because that was quite a new, I understand, activity for you.
So I can say that working with these archetypes was a fascinating experience, but it was a little bit hard because the most difficult part was translating like abstract ideas in the visual form, finding them right images and symbols to convey my ideas, to show what I want to say.
Okay. I don't know, how did you feel about working with something different than just listening to a lecturer?
Well, it was very interesting because we had only 2 magazines, and we
Okay.
should find the right pictures, collage them. I felt excited, but also challenged by the different outcomes. For example, continuation felt stable, collapse was scary, and discipline was structured, and the transformation was the most exciting.
By the way, what I also learned from this activity, particularly with archetypes, and you heard that already in girls' presentation, that discipline, well, very often, I would put it this way, very often we put discipline mostly in a negative perspective.
Yes.
But yeah, but
But
what,
will be limited.
yeah, exactly. It might be in the positive perspective as well, because we need not anarchy, but we need the structure and rules to follow to make this unpredictable, uncertain world more comprehensible and more workable. And also, I would like you to share your thoughts about, you both mentioned that you already thinking about your future. And futures thinking that's also give you lots of opportunities. So if you were to choose, let's use a metaphor of a story, of a novel. If you were to choose between a well-written story, beautiful story to follow, but it was written by someone else for you, and you have another choice to write your own story, and nobody knows, including you, what can be the narrative, what pitfalls, what mess you can meet on that way, coming to the conclusions. What would you choose? A nicely written story, but by someone else, or your own narrative, but nobody knows what would be the outcome?
Well, I will choose to build my own life. Yes, someone else path might seem easy, but creating my own future feels more rewarding. it's important to follow my own values and dreams, even if it's harder or more uncertain. I believe that living life on my own terms will lead to more personal growth.
Great. Madina,
Um,
what will be
so,
your choice?
to be honest, I have mixed views about this issue. The first, like with way, is to choose pre-written script. It's like made sometimes seem like the only option because you know that everything will be good, but it's boring, yes. And
Okay.
if I build my own story, my own future, I would already know that I will do some mistakes. But I believe by making mistakes, we grow and learning something new. And also, I will feel myself more alive, like, and like more free if I will choose
Okay.
like second option.
Mhm. Great. And actually, my comment also, every time when I work with young people, particularly with students, I see, and that is it's a warm to my heart as the citizen of this country, as a citizen of Kazakhstan, because I want my country to prosper. When I work with young people, I see that they still keep this spirit of agency. And that's what Ibanu and Madina just confirmed, that they are willing to build their own future. Even though that might be lots of uncertainties, might be lots of problems, but the matter of choice is very important. And that's what future studies also help us to strengthen within us. And that's why my next questions to you to share with our audience, and thank you again, everyone who is with us in this room. What experience, what outcome, or what you learned from our sessions, how they helped you maybe to change your perspective onto life? What was born, what new was born in you?
To be honest, before this Foresight workshops, before our lectures and seminars, I believe that the future didn't fully depend on me. And I often found it easier to blame the government, to say that they're better, and other people also for my some follows. But now I realize that my future is mostly depend on me, and it's mostly in my hand. Also, I gained some understanding of how to approach long-term planning and explore different future possibilities. Working with archetypes helped, like, to me to see how my future could unfold depending on my choices.
Great. I don't know. What about
Well,
you?
before Foresight sessions, I had a general idea of the future, but I didn't realize how many possibilities there were. After the sessions, I felt more motivated and understood that I can shape my own future with with the choices I make. If it made me think more critically about the future and how it can make a positive impact.
Mhm. Great. And well, those who are doing these programs, every time when we hear such comments and such feedback, that's really rewarding. That me personally, for me, that's a bigger than any state or country medal or reward or order, when young people, they say that we are changing our perspective. really, for me, my personal motivation is to help others to look into this world differently. Because I do know that even from statistical data, depression among young people is growing. The level of depression is growing. And for me, futurist studies is one of the helping instruments, the saving tools to help them to see the perspective, to see the new perspective. So last question maybe from me to you both. Would you recommend your friends to participate and take the course on future studies? And maybe why would you recommend?
Well, of course.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Of course, I would recommend future studies to my friends, relatives also. It helps you think differently about the future and consider many possible paths, I guess. It also makes you more aware of how your choices today can affect tomorrow. It's a great way to open up your mind and learn how to navigate the future better.
Great.
In
Yelena?
addition, I can say that it's like the way to develop our critical thinking, creativity, and also adaptability, which are really important in our modern world. I guess like this reason is the main to study future studying.
Great. And so that's the feedback from us, and that is our conversation and our questions maybe from the audience. Someone wants to ask questions. Who would like? Please raise your hands. Go ahead. Yeah, Melissa, I see your hand up. Go ahead. What's your question?
Hello. What is it choice the tradition realization? What is choice history in byword past?
Let me reformulate the question. Yeah.
Situation هذه situation.
The situation, you mean the historical situation?
Yes. This is
historical situation with future studies or what? Or the historical situation of our country?
Civilization or past civilization.
Civilizational situation.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. So Kazakhstan, I guess you want to know the civilizational situation about our country. Kazakhstan is one of Central Asian countries. It's one of the Turk countries, and traditionally Kazakh people, they were a part of Turk civilization or Eastern civilization. I wouldn't say Oriental civilization, because Orient, the word is burdened with many negative connotations. So Kazakh people traditionally, they were nomads. They were traveling through steppe, through very vast territories. Traditionally, they were busy with cattle breeding. And well, actually, your question, Melissa, brought me to one thought. So I've mentioned that here in Kazakhstan, in Central Asia, we are facing a challenge with translating English language materials into our local languages. So when I first started working with future studies, and my native language is Russian, I had a big challenge to translate futures studies, because in Russian, we don't have a word which shows the plurality of futures. We can use in Russian only a word which brings a single future. But about Kazakh language, and that's a native language of Madina and Aybanu, it's much easier. We have Bolashak and we have Bolashaktar. So to bring up this idea of plurality of future, it will be much easier to use their language. And during our first meeting, our very first session, I mentioned that I would be really happy to have one of them or one of their student mates as a translator of these materials into Kazakh language. Because there is a big demand of these materials in their native language. And I would like to share also my coming experience. On Monday, I would go to one of our private schools, and we agreed with administration to do Foresight sessions for high school students. We'll see how it goes. And we agreed that I will do that in Russian, but actually the main language of the school is Kazakh. So we'll see how it goes. But if one day Aybanu or Madina or someone else from their group will come up with a Kazakh translation, that would be really great. So by the way, girls, to you are doing language studies, and from that perspective, what were the challenges for you during our sessions? How easy it was to adapt all these terms, or have you tried to adapt to maybe to Kazakh also?
Be honest, we're not so good in Kazakh language, unfortunately. For us, it's more easier in Russia or in English.
Yes.
Mhm.
Actually,
Okay.
I'm Karakalpakstan.
That, no, go ahead. Oh, that's by the way, that's one of the amazing regions, I should say, if we talk about civilizational perspective. And we are in the March, and the 8th of March is coming. And to our audience, I should say that Karakalpakstan, it's a part not of Kazakhstan, but of Uzbekistan. But there are many Kazakh people are living there. And couple years ago, I did a project with UNDP of Uzbekistan on future of gender equality in Uzbekistan. And we visited that region. We did Foresight and future sessions there. And I learned myself, I didn't know about that before, about a unique culture. So many people think about Central Asia and Eastern women as oppressed women. That's a very wrong perspective. And you can see Madina and you can see Aybanu. You wouldn't say that they're from that culture. For Karakalpakstan, I was told that in the family, the last word is always for a wife, for a woman. And again, even in Kazakh culture, women traditionally played a very significant role. And you maybe noticed in my presentation in the pictures for Pedagogical University, you can see more girls learning that profession of a teacher. They are going to bring up a new generation, and that's why for them this future's perspective is very important, because women traditionally in our cultures they were playing leading role, very important role. There are many women heroes, cultural heroes, and well, so that's why we are heading future studies in this country. Any other question, please? By the way, to you also, girls, question. In your daily life, how did you change maybe some of your habits after our session? Did they influence your daily perspective? Because, well, future, that's for many people, it's something far away. And it's very difficult to think in the perspective of like 10, 15 years, but we have to do that because we are doing future studies. That's the main difference between foresight and forecasting. But we start building our future today, in the present. So have you noticed any changes in your daily life after our sessions?
For me, time management is really hard. It's really complicated. But after our Foresight workshop, after our lectures, I started to understand how to plan my day, how to work, my just some daily routines.
Yeah, that's true. I agree with Madina, because when I started being involved in future studies, even though I always try to be a very much organized person, but this long-term and mid-term perspective brings you more organized style. So yeah, I agree with you. I don't know, what about changes in your life, daily life?
To be honest, I didn't change one of my habits and so on, but I changed my mind. I started thinking more about my future, about my choices, because every of my choice influenced to my future.
Mm-hmm. Great comment. Every choice we make influences our future. Very often, and you know, when we started our sessions, I also brought some materials on post-normal times. We looked into the future from this perspective of post-normal times, because I'm also a fellow at the Center of Post-Normal Policy and Future Studies. That's a global network. And post-normal times theory, that's our specific know-how developed by our center. And there is such a tool as post-normal time menagerie. And it consists of 3 creatures: black elephants, black swans, and black jellyfish. So black jellyfish, these are things, very small things, which are present in our life, but we don't pay much attention to them. And when you start doing future studies, you start paying attention to small things. And it helps you to build our perspective in the future. And of course, such an event that we are in at the moment, World Futures Day, Young Voices, it's not a small event. That's a really amazing event. And well, at the end of our presentation, I would like to thank, first of all, you, Aybanu, you, Madina, for giving your consent to participate in that event, presenting our country, presenting our experience, our mutual experience, which enriched both sides, me and you as participants, and also your university, because we're also planning to continue cooperating with Kazakh National Pedagogical University in April. Is coming this science week, and we'll do presentation there as well. And who knows, maybe the Ministry of Education would allow us to include future studies into our curriculum. And that's great. Everyone who participated, who listened to us, thank you for being our audience. Thank you for being patient with us, and good luck and congratulations with World Futures Day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Yelena, and your team, and the beautiful artifacts that you presented. Truly inspiring. As we wrap up this session, of course, we want to thank everybody for attending, and Yelena and her team and her students for being part of World Futures Day Young Voices 2025. Your perspectives and participation have made this conversation truly meaningful. The journey doesn't end here. New facilitators and fresh conversations begin at the top of the hour, and we would love for you to stay and continue exploring futures possibilities with us. I have a few quick announcements. First, Teach the Future, alongside our founding Young Voices members, have co-created a FutureWise Introduction to Futures Literacy online course for ages 12 and up, and pre-registration is now open. Second, we'd love to hear your experience, share your feedback, and I want to share this link if you haven't seen it already in the chat so that you can get your certificate for participation, as well as some other links. Remember, our intergenerational conversation, voice matters in shaping our shared futures. Thank you for being a part of this session.
Thank you.
Thank you, Randy. Thank you, Yelena. It was wonderful to see Madina, to listen to them, Ivanu. Really wonderful. This is what it makes World Future Day so enriched, that we can hear from the youth perspective. And as you can see, we are learning from each other. So adults learn from the youth learn from the adults, and it's a conversation. Amna, can you share a screen, please?
Yep, I'm sharing my screen.
Thank you. So as you know, this year, we are not just having 24 sessions, we are having double. Most of the time, we are doing breakout rooms. So the next hour, we will have 2 sessions, and we shortly will make available the breakout rooms. So if you are in your Zoom link and you have never done this before, don't worry. You need to look in the lower toolbar, and you will find the breakout rooms there when they are available. If not, you will find 3 dots, and you can click on more and then select room A or room B. You will be able to move from one room to the other, but we encourage that you stay in the room that you picked, because we don't want to cause disturbance between the rooms. But if you made a mistake and you were supposed to go to the other, you will be able to do so. The sessions will be recorded, so if you are missing room B, don't worry, you be focused on room A and you can see the recording. Afterwards, we will upload everything. And yes, we have also the closed captions and chat box if you need